My people, sons and daughters of His Imperial Guard. For nearly 12 months, we have been a broken people, shunned, oppressed, and tabled by those who meta chase Warhammer. For a while now, I have been salty, and that salt has been tolerated by you, the strength in my arm, the holders of my dreams. But now, sons and daughters of the Emperor's true finest, it is our time! So, if you can't tell, I'm pretty excited. Because on the 5th day of Grotmas, GW just dropped one of the best guard detachments that I have seen in years. And I don't just mean 10th edition. I mean years. More orders. Commissars that can not only order Ogryn, but join them. And stratagems that actually mention the Mordian Iron Guard. Truly, the Emperor has been blessing us this day. Hyperbole to one side, the Grizzled company is a really good detachment. I think that GW absolutely cooked with this one, and I am very, very excited to go through it today and try it out ASAP in some games of Warhammer, both battle reports and tournament reports. Gentlemen, let's not mess around any further. Let's fix bayonets and charge right into this thing.
Attention, Guardsmen. The Commissariat has detected you have not yet liked this video. Do so immediately, or else you will face the Emperor's wrath. And anyone who has not yet subscribed to the channel will be transferred to the penal battalions. That is all. Move out!
So first things first, if you're looking to find this detachment, then it is on the Grotmas calendar day 5 article on the Warhammer community website. There's a little bit of fluff and flavor text going through here, and then if you click on the Grizzled Company View Downloads button here, it will take you over to the Warhammer 40k recently added, and then you can click on the faction pack here, and that is where you will find it on page 4 of this faction pack at the time of recording. Couple of quick side notes here. I don't think I actually talked about this in a video, but I have mentioned it on stream a few times. I really like these faction packs. I think it solves a lot of the problems that have been plaguing 40k in terms of rules organization and bloat. There's been things that have been too disparate, like some stuff is over in one document, some stuff is over in another document. I really like that these faction packs have started bringing everything together. I think they could add a little bit more, but this is a very, very good start, and I'm a big fan of these faction packs in general. I also want to have a second quick side note here and actually talk about some of the beginning text in this Warhammer community article just before we get into the Grizzled Veterans detachment itself. Because not only is this very exciting that we're getting new detachments, but actually Grizzled Veterans isn't going to be the only one. It looks like we're going to get another 6 new detachments along with the quarterly balance patch next week. So it's confirmed it's going to be next week, and they've confirmed there's going to be 6 new attachments to share along with it. But they say, wouldn't you know it, the Red Gobbo pinched all of them out from under our noses, and since he's such a big fan of sharing, he's handing them out all over the next week. Now, I do wonder if this was always the plan, and I'm not criticizing GW here at all, but the first 4 days of Grotmas were actually tragically bad. Like, a couple of short stories, a rather terrible painting guide. Like, the first 4 days of Grotmas did not land at all. And myself and many others in the Warhammer community were thinking, is this it? And so I wonder if GW's obviously picked up on that very negative feedback that they've been getting and have gone, okay, we need to shake things up. Or I wonder if this was always the plan. Now, either way, I'm happy. And credit should be given where credit is due. Because if this was always the plan, then fair play, GW. It might have started off a little bit weak, but if the detachments are going to start rolling out now, then that's good. But also, if this wasn't the plan and this is more of an adaptation and more of a changing things because of they've read the room, then that's also good. Games Workshop should be given praise for if it looks like they might have fucked up and then they do something to correct that and to fix a problem or to right the ship, as it were, then that should also be praised. We can't kick them if they do something wrong and then kick them if they do something right. This is something they've done right. So either way, whether it's part of the original plan or whether this is something they've adapted on the fly, either way, they get 2 thumbs up from me. I like this. Grotmas should be about detachments. But with all of that said, now let's get into the detachment. I know why you're all here. Let's break down these rules. It's worth saying that this is a first impressions video, so things may change over the course of time. More insights may be garnered, maybe more tactical understandings will be gleaned. But for now, this is my first impressions, and straight off the bat, I'm going to say I love it. I think this is a very, very good detachment. And as crazy as it sounds, I think this is the first one that's truly going to make me want to move away from combined arms. I know I've been loving combined arms for 2.5 years now, but look, it's been getting a little old, even with the changes that happened with the index and then the change from the index to the codex. Combined arms is very, very well worn at this point. And this is the first one that has truly tempted me away from it. Look, I love Recon Detachment, but it has its limitations. I love Hammer of the Emperor, but it has its limitations. This feels like the first new take all comers, good for any situation, any army can be plugged and played into it, detachment that we have had in a long time. Because Recon is obviously a special detachment. Really, it's about infantry. Hammer of the Emperor is a special detachment. Really, it's about tanks. Combined Arms is take all comers. Anyone can have a go. This plug and play, have great times. And so that's why Combined Arms has been just such a staple, because no matter what kind of guard player you are, you can always find a home at Combined Arms. This Grizzled company, these Grizzled veterans, this is the first new detachment which actually feels like I can plug any army list into this. And a big part of this comes down to the detachment rule, ruthless discipline. The officers of this company are wily, iron-willed veterans, both respected and feared by the troops under their command. At their barked orders, even the weariest soldiers redouble their efforts. Add 1 to the number of orders each Astra Militarum officer model from your army can issue, as stated on their datasheet. Now, that on its own would be amazing, because not only does this solve the guard order bottleneck, which does exist, like, God, I've got to take like a platoon commander, and then really, if I want him to order more than just himself, he needs to have a Caden Castellan join that blob. There is a bit of a bottleneck there. So not only does it solve that bottleneck, but also tanks. This isn't just infantry officers. Read it again. Astra Militarum officer model. So it's not only infantry officers, it's also all your tank commanders. So all your tank commanders now get the equivalent of Grand Strategist for free. But correct me if I'm wrong. Remember, this is first impressions. I could be wrong here. But correct me if I'm wrong. Named characters. Lord Solar, Leontus, Ursula, Creed. They're Astra Militarum officers. They have the officer keyword. They have the Astra Militarum keywords. They would all get more orders. So this affects every single officer in your army, and we've just got a huge buff on order efficiency. This is going to have a knock-on effect of you can now actually take less officers, which means you save points, which means you can get more units. And I've been saying, Guard has been struggling with the points recently. And who knows, maybe when the balanced data slate comes out, we'll get some points cuts. I think we need them. Things are very, very tight at the moment. I don't think we need a lot. 5% points cuts, an extra 100 points would go a long way. An extra 200 points would be better. But things have been real tight on the Guard for a while. Like, we don't have much room to wiggle. And this allowing you to take less officers means that you can actually get some more utility in your force. And it just makes that, instead of having to take like a Castellan and a platoon command squad, maybe you can just take the platoon command squad. Suddenly that's 55 points freed up. Suddenly that's an extra scout sentinel. Okay, now we're rocking. You see, this is going to have a really big knock-on effect. Because you might say, okay, well, if you taking less officers and taking more units is not going to balance out the same thing. It's more about like you can take more of those utility units that don't necessarily need orders. So it just, a little bit goes a long way. And this is a little bit, and I think it's going to go a long way. Now, like I said, on its own, that would be amazing. But wait, there's more. While an Ashburn unit from your army is affected by an order, so you don't have it all the time, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. If the target of that attack is in range of an objective marker, reroll the wound roll of 1 as well. Now, this is very powerful. It's a straight up damage boost, right? Because getting reroll 1s to hit, reroll 1s to wound on objectives is fantastic. Reroll 1s to hit all the time, that's just nice to have. I really like the idea of that with Vanquishers. You guys know I love a Vank. You guys know I love Vanking time. But you roll that dreaded 1 or a 2, it's a real pisser. But now, half of the time that your Vanks miss on a 1 or a 2, right? Because you're going to have to take aim on them. Half the time they miss, they're going to have a reroll. That's going to make them so much more accurate. And honestly, at this point, Vanquisher meta incoming. It has to be Vanquisher meta incoming. Like, 145 points combined with this, very nice. The reroll 1s to wound is nice as well, because obviously you're going to have everyone wants to be fighting on objectives. The whole way you win games of 40k is standing on circles. So often abilities that only happen on objectives are still really good because they're not actually that much of a limitation. But there is something you do need to take into account. This only happens when you're being affected by an order. Now, if you're building your list properly, you should always have enough orders for every unit. So that won't be such limitation. But it does mean that if your opponent is able to get rid of your officers and you start losing orders, you are going to take a double whammy. Not only going to lose access to things like take aim and stuff, but you're also going to start losing this reroll 1. So it does have a way your opponent can counter it. And also, you are giving up lethal hits. So yes, this is a damage buff from a guard baseline point of view, but is it a damage buff by losing lethal hits? Now, we do have a stratagem later on for some lethal hits, but that's going to affect 1 unit, right? So, I think this is good, but lethal hits is a hell of a drug. And I know other people out there who are better at Math Hammer than me. I don't really do a lot of Math Hammer. I just go by gut instinct. But I know a lot of people are going to be able to do the Math Hammer and work out, even in an ideal circumstance, a reroll 1s to hit and reroll 1s to wound, is this going to be better than lethal hits? My gut instinct is telling me it's going to make up for losing a bit of lethal hits, but I still think lethal hits probably trumps stuff. I think lethal hits probably trumps it, but I think this definitely softens the blow in a big way. Now, one more thing that's occurred to me before we move on to the enhancements is this whole reroll 1s to hit thing can affect a lot of different guard units. Obviously, I thought about Vanks straight away because I love my Vanks, but what about things like elite guard infantry like Kazakin? They can order themselves to have like take aim, and then they can have reroll 1s to hit. So your Kazakin are hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. And then you also, what I like with this is it can kind of stack up with things like Creed, because Creed, the unit that she's leading, can receive 2 orders. So you could have on a big blob of infantry Creed with take aim, first rank fire, second rank fire. So you're getting more shots, more accurate, and then reroll 1s to hit, and maybe reroll 1s to wound as well. So this can really, really stack up very, very nicely. And it affects all Ashburn units. This comes back to what I was saying before, right? So many of the detachments are really, really specialized. Like, this is only going to affect infantry and walkers. This is only going to affect your vehicles. It's only going to affect people that jump out of transports. The guard detachments have been nice in how like specialized they are in terms of like flavor, but that has definitely limited them in some ways on the tabletop. Like, you still do well with Hammer the Emperor, you still do well with Recon, don't get me wrong, but we can all agree there's been a few walls that you bumped into when you've been running those things, right? This just affects all Ashburn units, from your Baneblade down to your Catachans. You just make an attack, get a reroll 1 to hit. Now, on top of this, it doesn't say make a ranged attack. Right? It doesn't say ranged attack. So this is going to affect melee as well. Now, Rough Riders with fixed bayonets hit on 2s. When an actual time unit from your arm is affected by an order, each time a model in that you makes an attack, reroll a 1 to hit. So, Rough Riders are going to hit on 2s, rerolling 1s in combat. Now, Rough Riders are already kind of a undersung, really good unit of the Guard. Like, I have no bad things to say about Rough Riders. I think they're genuinely very good. So that's really cool. But this is also going to affect abhumans. In fact, this is the first, and as you can see right here with this enhancement, this detachment loves abhumans. Ratlings will be able to reroll 1s just from shooting, and Ogrin and Bulgrin can now, in melee, hit on 2s, rerolling 1s. Now that is very, very spicy, because in this meta that we find ourselves in, especially if you're in the UK and Europe, where we play on a lot of UK TC terrain and a lot of WTC terrain, things can be very, very tight. Like, the boards can be very, very dense in terms of terrain, and shooting armies can struggle a little bit in that. And Guard it's felt like we've had so many things taken away from us that we've almost become like as shooty as the Tau. Like, our combat has definitely been struggling. This brings combat back onto the board for Guard. This makes us a more well-rounded army. And on some of these very dense terrain formats, this is going to be really, really helpful. I think it's going to be helpful in all terrain formats, don't get me wrong. But let me tell you, being able to actually take decent combat as Guard, and being able to actually keep pace, maybe not beat, but keep up, be near peer with some of those other melee armies, it's going to take a lot of pressure off these shoulders. I'm just saying, it's going to make a big difference. So this is a really, really, really strong detachment rule. Do I worry maybe it's too strong and GW might change it? They may change it. They may change it like they did with the Tactical Brigade for Orcs. They may change it a little bit, but I don't know if they will. And the reason, and that might be cope, sucking down that copium. It might be cope, but I don't know if they will, because you're still giving up lethal hits, right? You are giving up a huge amount. Is this attachment better than combined arms? It's very much open for debate. A lot of people might say no, and I wouldn't necessarily disagree with them. Would I say it's near peer or equal to combined arms? I think that definitely could be argued. Obviously, the jury's out yet. We need to wait and see the tournament results come in, data come in, just play some games, get a vibe check for it, all that kind of stuff. But I don't think this is stronger than combined arms. I could be wrong, but it always comes down to, does this beat lethal hits? And combined arms also has fantastic enhancements, and Grand Strategist absolute auto include. Obviously, this does Grand Strategist as well in a funny sort of way with its detachment rule, but combined arms stratagems very good as well. So does this beat combined arms? I think it matches it. And if combined arms doesn't get nerfed, then I don't see why this should get nerfed. But we'll see. Like I said, first impressions, this might be as broken as Victrix Guard. We don't know. We'll find out. Let's move on to the enhancements now, and we've got Abhuman Detail. Ogrins respond well to this commissar's stern discipline, are even known to accompany them as a personal bodyguard. Commissar model only. Add the Ogrin keyword to the list of units this model can issue orders to, as stated on its datasheet. In the declare battle formation step, the bearer can be attached to an Ogrin squad or Bulgrin squad unit. Excuse me. Yes! Oh! Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Oh! It's been nearly a decade. All right. Now, we've been able to order Ogrin and Bulgrin previously with, like, the Lord Solar. Don't get me wrong. But Commissars haven't been able to lead Ogrins since... I don't even know if they could do it in, like, 7th edition, but since the old times, since the ancient scrolls, and since the last epoch of Warhammer. So, the fact that Commissars can join Ogrins and Bulgins again, the world is healing, GW is healing. It's taken them a long time. It's been some low-hanging fruit, but they finally picked it. Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes. Now remember, commissars have got the officer keyword, so that means they will be able to issue 2 orders. But also remember, commissars only really know 2 orders, which is fixed bayonets and duty and honor. Now both of those are really good for Bulgrin and Ogrins. Fixed bayonets obviously can give you +1 to hit and melee, hitting on 2s, but don't overlook duty and honor. Being able to move those Bulgrins onto an objective and go, okay, +1 OC on everyone. Don't underestimate that at all. Like, that's actually really nice. So this is fantastic. It absolutely passes the vibe check, but it also 110% has tactical implications. I think having 2 units of Bulgrin with one led by a commissar, but them both within 6 inches of that commissar. Obviously, one's within 6 inches being led by the unit, but don't by the commissar. You know what I mean? But having those 2 units is really good because the commissar will be able to order both. Now, do you go double Bulgrin and go for big smashy wall, or do you go for 1 Bulgrin and 1 Ogrin, maybe to keep the cost down a little bit because Bulgrin are pricey, right? Or do you go double Ogrin and go for a really cheap wall of just muscle and gristle? I think all options are actually valid. Double Bulgrin is like the premium platinum package, but I wouldn't underestimate double Ogrin. It's dirt cheap. Like, I think, and obviously balance data state could change this, but I think Ogrin's about 120, 130 points for 6. They're not expensive at all. Maybe even less. Maybe like 110. They're cheap. Either way, double Ogrin with a commissar with this enhancement is probably going to come in at about 300 points. Now, that's a lot of melee. That's a lot of melee for 300 points. It's going to be probably close to 500 if you do it with Bulgrin, right? So Bulgrin is like the obvious package with this. It's the obvious one. But don't overlook the Ogrins. I think they've got a place here. Oh my god, something just occurred to me re the whole Ogrin thing. Remember, it's reroll 1s to hit when you're under an order. So you could order both units of Ogrin to fix bayonets. Now, that means they're going to get reroll 1s to hit when they're shooting their Ripper guns. And then when they charge in, they're going to be hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s with the melee. And Ogrins get +1 AP. +1 OP, maybe. +1 AP when they're shooting the nearest target. So when you actually look at the damage output, and Ripper guns are damage too, remember? So when you actually look at the damage output from this, I think reroll 1s to hit, reroll 1s to wound, shooting and melee, definitely don't discount the Ogrins. Bulgrins are going to be the obvious one people go for, but don't discount the Ogrins. This Ogrin gunline meta incoming. Next up, we have Aquilon Eye. This is a really interesting one because it gives us a new order. Yes! Again! Yes! Man, those same 6 orders, they've been getting well worn. You know, oh, do you take aim or do you move? Ooh, I'm not sure. Those orders have been getting well worn. It's great to see some new orders creeping in. GW, get us back to the glory days of the 9th edition codex where we had like 18 orders to pick from, please. Now, Aquilon Eye is a bionic lens, contains miniaturized autospecs capable of detecting the slightest flaws in enemy defenses. Attribute arm officer model only. Each time you select an order for the bear to issue, you can select the order below. Target weak spot. Order. Each time model in the enemy makes a ranged attack that targets an enemy unit within 12 inches. Improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. Now, this has got loads of tactical implications. The first one is Creed. Because Creed's unit can be affected by 2 orders. So you could have take aim and target weak spot, which would give you +1 to hit and then would also give you extra AP, which is very, very tasty. The second one is tank commanders. It doesn't say infantry model only. So you could have a tank commander that could get more AP on all of their guns if they're within 12 inches. Now, that could be a little dicey, but you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking Rogal Dawn Commander. I'm thinking Rogal Dawn Commander is a bully unit anyway. Fly him into the middle of an objective where there's loads of enemies. Get those nipple melters to work. Get those multi-melters to work. Get the AP5 on both of those. Oppressor cannon, suddenly AP3. Okay. AP2's not quite enough. AP3, I like what you're thinking. He's also going to be rerolling hit rolls of 1 because of the army rule. He's also going to be probably having reroll wound rolls of 1, which is going to help with those multi-melters, right? Giving up lethal hits, but reroll 1s to wound. Okay. It works very well on a Rogel Dawn commander. Now, another kind of thing you might want to consider here, and it's a little crazy, but commissars again. I said earlier, commissars are limited by the fact that they have got only fixed bayonets and duty and honor. Well, you can put this on a commissar. Suddenly, the commissar is a 30-point, plus whatever this enhancement costs, is a 30-point officer who can do 2 orders, who can give extra AP. Now, that's not to be overlooked. Not to be overlooked at all. I'm thinking Scions. I know, not heard those guys in a while. Not heard those guys in a while at all, but I'm thinking Scions. Now, I'll tell you why I'm thinking Scions. Firstly, Scions can have a command squad and a commissar join them. Right? They can have both. Secondly, if we go over to the Scion command squad, you can see that the command rod allows the bearer's unit to be affected by 2 different orders at the same time. So you could have your Scion command squad with a command rod, and you could have either the command squad join the unit with the command rod. It can now do 2 orders, and that could be take aim and first rank fire, second rank fire, or it could be take aim and target weak spot. AP -2 on all those hotshot las guns. Now that's starting to mean something. That's starting to mean something in a big way. Extra AP on all those plasma guns. You know? Sustained hits as well. Not only that, but think about this. You could have 3 Scion blobs, each led by a command squad, and each with a command rod. Those 3 Scion blobs all are basically self-contained with take aim and first rank fire affecting them, right? Great. But then you can also have a 4th Scion squad if you are taking, let's say... Oh, you probably couldn't get 4, could you? Because of their only battle line in Bridgehead Strike. So you'd have your 3 Scion squads there. Okay. Could you then add a commissar to one of those blobs with this enhancement, because they can have 2 leaders, and then he could do target weak spot out to 2 other units, maybe. But he probably doesn't need to join. He probably doesn't need to join a Scion command squad for that. So the Scions themselves are going to be affected by the double order thing. And target weak spot might be a good order for them to consider on the Scion command squads. But what's going through my mind now? Cogs are moving, boys. Cogs are moving. I'm thinking the classic quintessential Imperial Guard platoon. Platoon command squad and a commissar. I said platoon command, probably Cadian command squad, right? Cadian command squad and a commissar leading a brick of Cadians. That's 4 orders there. You could have the Cadian command squad order take aim on its unit. And then the Kazakin you have 3 hits of Kazakin. They could all order themselves with Warrior Elite. They're still eligible to receive additional orders on top of that. So you take one of the platoon commanders' other orders, do like first rank fire, second rank fire, take the commissar. He can now take advantage of the Master Vox. He does target weak spot, Kazakin, extra AP on all of their guns. That's how you do it. Boys, do we now have a new elite infantry company? 1 gigablob of conscripts of Cadians, 3 units of Kazakin, all with double orders? I think we might do. I think we very well might do. Very spicy. But let's move on to the next one. Spec Ops Veteran. I love that. The veteran commando officer imparts their experience in clandestine warfare to the rank and file. Ashburton infantry officer model only. Each time you select an order for the bearer to issue, you can select the order below. So another new order. Another new order. Okay, we're eating good. We're eating good. Move to the shadows. Each time a ranged attack targets this unit until the attacks are resolved, models in this unit have the stealth ability. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I think this one is cool, but I'm not yet sure how good it's going to be. Because it's infantry officer only. If this could be put on a tank commander, that would be interesting. Free smoke. But remember, you have to kind of give up, unless you're taking Creed or Sound Command Squads, you have to give up take aim. And so I guess the question for this is, do you prefer take cover for +1 to your save, or do you prefer move to the shadows? I'm sure there will be some good uses for this. I'm sure there will be. But this is the only one which doesn't immediately jump out to me. So let me know down in the comment section below where you think this might be useful. Because you can't do it on Ogryns or Bulgrins, because they can only be ordered by this guy. You can't put it on the Lord Solar because he's an epic hero. So it's really, it's somewhat limited. By the way, that's just maybe realized. I should clarify. When I've been talking about Creed's unit being able to get like double orders, I've been not saying Creed's been getting this enhancement. I've been saying like another officer, maybe like a platoon commander as part of like a Creed command blob, has been given this enhancement. Just thought I'd clarify that. So maybe this works in a similar way. Hey, you can have maybe this works in a similar way. Maybe you can have take cover and move the shadows. Okay. Extra save plus -1 to hit. Okay. I can see it. Maybe it makes our infantry actually durable. Maybe. But there'll be times and places for it. Because sometimes you'll need to move out first, right? And sometimes you'll need to take the hit because let's say you've had to go first something, or you've had to move out to get an objective something. Being like, okay, I'm going to move out and go move the shadows and take cover. Hopefully I'll survive. I can maybe see it, but this one is, I'm not seeing it right away, but you guys let me know if I'm missing something here. And then the last, but certainly not least, this final enhancement, Loud Hailer. The device amplifies the bear's voice, enabling their orders to cut through the battle. Ashburton arm, officer model only. Each time you select a unit for this officer model to issue an order to, that unit could be within 12 inches instead of 6. Now, this could affect any guard officer, but it's not going to affect tank commanders because they can already do orders out to 12 inches. Again, it's not going to affect Leontis or Creed because they can't take enhancements because they're epic heroes. So this is going to affect things like the Cadian Castellan. And that's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Oh, yeah. Cadian Castellan, who's going to have 3 orders now. 3 blobs, all within 12 inches of him. Way more doable. Way more doable, man. Yeah. This is really nice. Yeah, this is definitely designed for the Cadian Castellan. Because Platoon Command Squad, well, I'll say Platoon Command Squads. I'm using that as a catch-all term for all 3 different command squads you get, right? But your command squads, they're going to have the Master Vox more often than not. Maybe not the Catachan ones, but still, they're probably going to have the Master Vox, right? With the Krieg one and the Cade one, you have to take it, right? So really, this is maybe on the Catcher command squad, but more than likely, it's going to be on the Cadian Castellan, and this is very, very nice. It's very simple, but it's probably an auto-include in many ways. Yeah, this is probably the most auto-include because it's not reliant on you taking Ogryn. It's not reliant on you having to give up orders like take aim off first rank fire. It's just take this and have an officer with long-range orders. This is basically an auto-include. I really like the idea of this one with a Castellan and a mortar pit or artillery pit. You don't have to have everyone crammed behind the L-shaped ruin. Maybe they could be behind a couple of different ruins in your home field, right? It spreads the love a little bit. Also good for screening. You know, you can have your artillery more spread out to help screen your backfield. Either way, fantastic. Almost the one that's going to be overlooked just because it's so basic, but probably the most powerful enhancement here, as crazy as that sounds. Most powerful, most used attachment, most used enhancement. But all right, let's move on and let's get to these stratagems, starting with Snap to It. 1 command point, start of any phase, 1 Ashburn Time officer unit from your army. Your unit's officer model can issue 1 order as if it were your command phase. Amazing. So in my mind, there's 2 obvious use cases for this. You do your initial order of duty and honor to try and flip an objective to you with more objective control, or to stop a unit from getting battle shock so you can keep an objective under your control. Once that's done, you then do 1 command point and you flip that unit over to something like take aim or move or something like that. So basically you can do the OC order in your command phase, and then you can flip over to doing movement or for doing more shooting in the relevant phases there. So there's that. The other one, of course, is as well, you can use this defensively. Perhaps you move onto an objective, shoot the crap out of someone, and then go, okay, I want to keep control of this. I'm now going to flip to take cover. Or if you've got that enhancement, I'm going to flip to stealth. Right? So they're the 2 use cases that I can kind of see for this one. So a unit that jumps out for me with this one is Kazakin. So an officer could order the Kazakin in the command phase to have move. So they could scout and then move 9 inches, right? Then the Kazakin can use their ability at the start of any phase, could go, right, we're going to order ourselves to take aim. And then you could use Snap 2 in the shooting phase to have an officer issue another order to the Kazakin, and they could have first rank fire, second rank fire as well, or maybe the extra AP one. So I think this works very nicely with Kazakin. Next we have No Retreat. Use it in your command phase. It costs 1 command point, 1 Ashburn Time unit from your army affected by the duty and honor order, so it's quite niche. If your unit is within range of an objective marker you control, that objective marker remains under your control even if you've no models within range of it until your opponent controls at the start or end of a phase. So basically, duty and honor and then sticky objectives. Now this is pretty good. A lot of people take like a single unit of like Cadians to sticky the home objective and they sort of move off with them. But you could now do this with any unit. You could basically drop that Cadian unit if you didn't want to and replicate the same thing using another unit, which is kind of interesting. Could free up some points there, maybe? This is okay. In fact, this is probably the one where I'm saying it's okay and someone points out that it's actually utterly broken. But to me, remember, if you're doing duty and honor, you're not doing another order, you might be able to do another order because you use No Retreat and then combine that with Snap 2. That could work. So you do No Retreat in your command phase, go, I'm sticking this objective with duty and honor, and then you flip it to Snap 2 with Snap 2 to something else. And then, now that would cost you 2 command points, but if you've got Leontus or Creed in here, or both, you could really limit that cost, because you could, like, Creed will just do one of these for free, because you can just reduce the cost by 1, right? Interesting. And also, it does say Ashratam unit, so that could work with Ogrins and Bulgrins. Because you could have a Commissar leading the Ogrins with the enhancement. The Commissar says, okay, duty and honor, lads. And the Ogrins sticky the objective. Or Bulgrins sticky the objective. Then you use Snap 2. And you put the Ogrins or Bulgrins onto fixed bayonets. And charge in. And charge off. So it's quite good. But you kind of have to, it's quite good, but it does take a little bit of management, a little bit of massaging. You've got to think about how you're going to mitigate potentially the CP cost. You've got to think about how you're going to actually use this and where it's going to be useful. I think this is a good tool to have in the toolbox. This could very, very simply be something that you look at an objective and go, I'm probably going to get shot off that next turn. My opponent's probably not going to move onto it, but I'm probably going to get shot off it. So I'll just go 1 CP, sticky, boom. That's probably the most simple use case for it, but you can see there are some other areas you can take advantage of it. Next, we have veteran sharpshooters. This is a doozy. Do it in your shooting phase. 1 command point. 1 Astra time unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. Any unit. Not just infantry, tanks, abhumans, any unit. Until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in your unit have the ignore cover ability. Oh my god. Alright. Okay. Now this is just good on every unit. Like literally, name me a unit that's got decent range. This is good. Ignores cover is amazing. This is good. But I got one for you. Leman Russ Battle Tank. Now bear with me, right? Leman Russ Battle Tank get 4 rerolls to hit against enemy units on objectives. So that's important. The problem with the Leman Russ Battle Tank is it's only AP -1. So what you do is you have a Leman Russ command. You have a tank commander tell a Leman Russ Battle Tank to target weak spot. Okay. The Leman Russ Battle Tank, then you give it veteran sharpshooters, and then you get it within 12 inches of an enemy unit on an objective, and you blast. You're going to have a Leman Russ Battle Tank, which is going to have full rerolls to hit on all of its weapons, because that's the Leman Russ ability. 4 rolls to hit on all of its weapons, and it's going to be AP -2 on that battle cannon, ignoring cover. That is... oh, that is spicy. That is very spicy. Do you know another one? As crazy as it might sound, do you know another one? Leman Russ Punisher. Get it within 12 inches. Get it ignoring cover. Getting it with extra AP from that order. Could produce some results. Imagine if you went full Daka Leman Russ Punisher. 3 heavy bolters, heavy stubber, Punisher cannon. That's going to be 9, 15, 35 shots. All ignoring cover, all with some AP. Now, I don't know if that one's very good because you will obviously not have take aim, and so half your shots are going to go everywhere. I think this is very spicy on a bully battle tank. I think it's good on every unit, but that speaks to me. The battle tank speaks to me. Next, we have Purging Fire. 1 command point in your shooting phase. 1 Ashmere arm unit from your army affected by an order that has not been selected to shoot this phase. If your unit is within range of an objective marker until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipment models in your unit have the lethal hits ability. So this is good, but it's not as good as it might first seem, because you have to have an order. Okay, that's not the end of the world, but you have to be in range of an objective marker, not your opponent. You have to be in range of an objective marker. So there's a couple of barriers here. One's a very small barrier. One's a bigger barrier. And it's only on 1 unit. Look, it's lethal hits. It's lethal hits. Can't complain. It's great. It's fantastic. Really good. Really powerful. But there's just a couple of little things to be aware of. But again, this can go on any unit affected by an order. Do you know, as this to me says super heavies. I know. I'm coming out with all these wild cards, right? But super heavies. 1 Ashmere arm unit from your army affected by an order. Baneblades can be ordered by the Lord Solar. Those Baneblades, obviously catch-all term. Baneblades will be benefiting from this as well. So your Baneblade will be hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s with lethal hits. I'm telling you, super heavies plus Purging Fire is very... very interesting. Oh my god, yes. And then also, don't forget, you can combine that with veteran sharpshooters as well. This can affect super heavies. So veteran sharpshooters plus Purging Fire plus take aim plus Grizzled veterans on a Baneblade, you're going to be getting real ones to hit, with lethal hits, with ignores cover, with +1 to hit. You telling me stacking all that onto a super heavy is inefficient? I don't think that's inefficient. I think that's damn efficient. But now we get to what is clearly the best one. What is clearly the best one. And GW, I know there's a 99.99999% chance that this has nothing to do with me. But in my headcanon, I choose to believe this is a little nod. All right, a little nod. And I'm probably wrong. It's probably my ego, but they could have called it Praetorian Minute. They could have called it Mad Minute. They could have called it anything, but they called it the Mordian Minute. All right, named for the soul of any regiment they could have picked. They picked my boys, and I appreciate it. Named for the soldiers of Mordian, this rapid-fire drill requires exceptional accuracy and coordination, but renders even the humble lasgun highly lethal. Do it in your shooting phase, 1 command point, 1 Ashburtarum infantry unit from your army affected by the first rank fire, second rank fire order. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, improve the strength characteristic of that attack by 1. So it affects all weapons. Huge. Huge. Strength 10 melter. Yes, please. Actually massive, because strength 10 gets you into a whole nother wounding bracket. A lot of vehicles you encounter are T9 or T10. It's kind of like a guard thing where everyone's running around with like T11 or higher, right? So suddenly you go to wounding a lot of vehicles on 3s or wounding on 4s. With real ones to wound. I'll take those odds. I'll take those odds. It's also good for your plasma guns because that gets them wounding most dedicated transports and 4s, which is nice. And, you know, it's also kind of cool. You know, interestingly, I think this makes an argument for crack grenade launchers because crack grenade launchers are strength 9. Now they'll be strength 10. So you can have crack grenades and melter guns, 4 strength 10 shots coming out of that unit. Because it affects... Even if you're not using a rapid fire weapon, you still get the bonus of this. It probably makes sense to do it on plasma guns, right? It probably does. But, because they get the extra shots. But, you know, 4 strength 10 shots, I'm not going to complain. Not going to complain. I think this is just generally very good. And what's kind of interesting is I think this pairs with... one of the tactics that we saw at LVO, so those of you who watched the LVO final, you saw Wesley St. Hines with his guard infantry doing very well. And one tactic that he did was he had a big blob of Cadians with a Cadian Castellan leading them. And then he would go first rank fire, second rank fire, because that would give him like 11 plasma shots, 3 from each plasma gun. Sorry, more than 11, like 14. Because he'd have a Cadian command squad with double plasma gun, because he got rid of the banner. I know, the flag should never fall, but still. And then he had the Cadians with double plasma, and then he had a Castellan with the plasma pistol, and then the officer with the plasma pistol. So he got 14 plasma shots from that unit, and then he had 2 melter gun shots, right? Now, that tactic has only got better from this. It's only got way better. Because he's going to have reroll 1s, which he didn't have before, and he's going to have extra strength, which he didn't have before. And he could combine that with things like veteran sharpshooters to ignore cover. And you could combine that with purging fire. I mean, okay, we're starting to spend 3 command points, but that's a hell of a fire. That's a hell of a volley. So yeah, I think this is really good. Really, really good. And genuinely a go-to stratagem in a lot of different ways. I think all of these are go-to. I think snap to it and no retreat, you have to have a bit of a game plan around them. But veteran sharpshooters, purging fire, and Mordian Minute are all take-all-comers used in every game situations. And the last stratagem we have is additional armor. When your opponent's shooting phase just after the enemy unit has selected its targets. It costs 1 command point. Target 1 Ashmatar unit from your army, any unit, that will select the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Effect until the end of the phase. Each time attack targets your unit, worsen the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. Boys, we just got Armor of Contempt. We just got Armor of Contempt. Yeah, baby. It's like being back in 8th edition. We used to have Armor of Contempt in 8th edition, you know. It's like back in 8th. Now, I will say one thing here. This says until the end of the phase. Armor of Contempt used to say until the end of the phase, and it got changed until the end of the activation. So right now, this is actually better than Armor of Contempt, but I wouldn't expect that to last. I expect that to get changed very quickly to end of an activation, because that would just bring it in line with Armor of Contempt, and that's fair. Like, I'm not against that. Okay, Space Marine players, I'm advocating to nerf one of my stratagems to bring it in line with one of yours. Okay, I'm advocating that. In return, can you make our Demolisher cannons as good as your Demolisher cannons again? I think that's fair, right? I think that's fair. We're starting to level the playing field again, right? I think that's fair. But this is, you know, as it is right now, rules as written, this is one of the best stratagems in the game. That's no exaggeration. This is one of the best stratagems in the game. And the fact that it affects any unit, the fact that you can put this on like a tank with like a 2-up save. So think about this, right? You've basically all of our tanks are 2-up saves, right? Apart from Chimeras, but they're transports. A tank in cover with this can be hit by an AP -2 attack and have a 2-up save. They have to hit you with an AP -3 attack before you go down to a 3-up. This stacks with smoke. So you can be -1 to hit with cover with Armor of Contempt. This is really cool. This is really cool. This also pairs kind of nicely with the fact that you could also put this on infantry. You can have infantry in cover. Cadian Command Squad gives you cover being on objective, right? You have infantry in cover with take cover with additional armor. They're going to be on a 3-up save, ignoring AP1. You could combine that with Spec Ops Veteran. You know, on a unit that can take double orders. There's not many of them, but, you know, you could. Even just, yeah, you can go to ground as well. Obviously, it depends on how you want to combine all these things. I don't think all of them will necessarily be needed. Maybe go to ground is good just because you can then get cover just out in the open, right? But additional armor is phenomenally powerful. And don't forget, imagine this on a blob of Kriegers. Okay, so I'm going to have take cover, plus I'm in cover, plus I've got additional armor, plus I'm going to bring back D3+1 guys. And you can combine additional armor with snap to it. So you can have your Krieg do all the death killing that they want to do, and then snap to it in the beginning of the enemy's phase, you know, because you don't have to do it in the command phase either. So you could wait for them to line everything up on this Krieg blob and then just go, snap to it. I'm now super durable. Yeah, you can really fuck with people. Snap to it's a massive gotcha. Yeah, it's great, man. It's fucking great. Like, yeah, it's really good. And honestly, when you think about it, Krieg in general loves this detachment because of Grim Demeanor. I love +1 to hit, +1 to wound, even just +1 to hit, because you might not want to be below half strength, but +1 to hit. It makes the Krieg command squad really good, because obviously you can do 2 orders now, so you can have 3. This actually allows you to run a pure Krieg army, this attachment. Think about that. You can now run a pure Krieg army. 6 blobs of Kriegers, 3 command squads, all of them have orders. All of them with grim demeanor, with real wants to hit. If you are a fan of the Krieg, you just got your detachment. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is what I'm talking about. I said at the beginning of the video, and I'll say at the end of the video. This detachment is amazing. This detachment is probably one of the best attachments we've had in a very long time. I absolutely love it. And look, there's one thing that I want to say. I've been a salty boy. I've been a very, very salty boy. And I always say that I'm not a GW hater. When GW does something right, I praise them. When they do something wrong, I lambast them. And GW has been giving me too many reasons to shit on them. And I don't like it. I actually said this in a live stream recently. I am actually bored of complaining about Games Workshop. Like, I'm genuinely bored of complaining about them. I don't want to complain about them. I want to only ever wank them off, give them praise, and I want to be their number one shill. I want to be their number one shill. And this detachment makes me their number one shill. I love it. I love it not because I think it's going to be super powerful. I love it because this attachment is just fundamentally good. Like, this attachment feels right for the Guard. Because one thing I'll say about the Guard is we've taken a lot of hits over the course of the edition, but the reason we've been able to sort of take those hits and keep chugging along as a faction is our faction was built on very, very, very solid foundations. Our data sheets are all very solid, with some notable exceptions like the Priest, but our data sheets are very, very solid. When our Codex came out, a lot of the detachments that came with it were a little specialized and they were a little susceptible to getting fucked with. Like, think of Bridgehead Strike. Bridgehead Strike was very, very powerful, but it was obvious its foundations were built on quicksand. It was obvious that it was specialist and they were going to nerf it, right? Now, this attachment right here, I think it's very strong. I think it may get tweaked over the course of time, but I think the foundations here are solid enough that even if GW changes a command point cost here, changes the detachment rule there, that kind of stuff, I think the foundations for this are solid enough that it's like Combined Arms. Combined Arms has taken a lot of hits and nerfs over the course edition, but it's still a go-to one, right? This is the same thing. So I love this. This feels right. And to me, this shows me that GW still has it. I've been saying that GW's been taking a lot of L's recently, and I've been saying it feels like GW has been suffering from a bit of brain drain. They've been suffering from a bit of talent drain. This shows me that they still have it. This to me says GW is still worth it. Because I've been saying GW's not been worth it. They've been struggling to justify their costs and stuff. And you know what? If every detachment was as fundamentally solid as this one, you'd never hear me complain about, not just for Guard, but everywhere. If not even every detachment, if the majority of the detachments, you know what, I'm just going to say, if every detachment was like this, for every faction, just this solid, yeah, maybe it needs some tweaks, but this solid, and they put this much effort in, and they nailed it like this every time, you would never hear me say, GW shit, you shouldn't support them. You'd never hear me say, vote with your wallet. You'd never hear me say, look, if you like Warhammer, buy third-party models. You'd hear me say, GW's worth it. Yeah, you pay a lot of money for those models. You're paying a lot of money for those models. But you know your money is worth it. You know that cost is worth it, because you know it's going to go to them pumping out gold like this. And I've not been able to say that throughout all of 2025. Even the Guard Codex, it was good, but it was marred by the fact everything went to Legends. I'm telling you, boys, 2025 has been, in some ways, a bit of a bad year. Some ways. But I said a little while ago, even in the peak of my salt, I said that I thought the addition of Gain was coming. I thought they were going to turn the franchise around. I thought that they weren't going to keep tanking those L's. And this is the first step, I think, on them turning that around. I think this bodes well. Now, we'll wait and see, of course. We'll wait and see, of course, if more is to come. But this is good. This gives me hope. This is the kind of content I want to be making. I do not want to be making salty content. GW, I don't want to be doing it. GW, this is the kind of content I want to make. This is what I want my channel to be about. Talking about new detachments, new units, new tactics, new hype. I don't want to be doing videos about what we've lost. I don't want to be doing videos about what is shit. I want to be doing videos about what is good. And I want to be doing videos about the Emperor's true finest, his Imperial Guard. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. What do you think of the Grizzled veterans? What do you think of the detachment? What tactics and crazy combos have you come up with? I look forward to reading every single one of them. If you enjoyed today's video, then don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button. Like the video to fight the salt. And if you want to see more content like this, then don't forget to subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Picklock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.